Now, I'm sure this is a question that a lot of manga onlys are asking right now, which is where is Garou and what is next for Garou and all that stuff. Any question that is relatively similar to the two I just said. And of course, as you can tell by the title, that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. And of course, before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, because if you can't already tell, I post a lot of One Punch Man content. And I know a lot of you here aren't actually subscribed, so if you haven't already, then make sure you subscribe and leave a like, because it does help the channel and the video out a lot. But apart from that, let's get into the video, because you guys already know me. I love talking about Garou. Now, starting off, we know that in the last chapter of One Punch Man, which was chapter 169, we saw that Garou pretty much lost the fight against Saitama. Obviously, Saitama time traveled, and now we see that Saitama punched Garou so hard, like he was defeated before he could even do anything as Cosmic Garou, because we know that Saitama from the previous timeline is a lot stronger than the Saitama from the timeline that Saitama traveled to, if that makes any sense. Saitama was basically so much stronger since he already faced against Cosmic Garou in the first place, to put it in simple terms. But yes, now we see that Garou has pretty much had a bit of a face turn. I wouldn't call it a face turn, but he's kind of accepted that he's not really going to win this fight as long as Saitama is here. And we pretty much saw Garou just kind of leave the scene, and he didn't really get punished for his actions. But I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, where is Garou right now? And this is like half a webcomic spoiler. If you go, if you guys don't really mind about spoilers on this channel, which you shouldn't really, because if you're on this channel, you should have read the webcomic, but that's besides the point. In the webcomic, we saw that Garou actually does make another appearance, which is in the Neo Heroes arc, and we saw that he was a worker, just a regular like truck driver, and he came across Shiryu in his suit, and we saw that Garou still had some fighting prowess, even though he obviously isn't as strong as Cosmic Fear Garou. He's a lot weaker. I would probably say that Garou is probably like around the same strength as when he was like Hero Hunter Garou, or maybe even weaker, who knows. But at the same time, he could be way stronger, because we didn't actually get to see like a lot of his fighting skills at the time. So Garou could be like, who knows, he could be as strong as how he was against Darkshine, which is like really strong in the One Punch Man verse. Well, on the lower end of the One Punch Man verse, because now that we've seen characters like Boros, God, and Cosmic Fear Garou, characters like Darkshine aren't really that strong in the grand scheme of things. But despite that fact, characters like Darkshine are still very strong compared to, like, I guess 90% of the verse. But regardless of that fact, I would say that Garou in terms of strength is, from what we've seen so far in the webcomic, is probably like around the Hero Hunter Garou level. But apart from that, it seems as though Garou has actually found a job somewhere, as I said before, as a truck driver, which I guess is that like Garou? I would say Garou is, Garou hasn't really shown anything that he's good at apart from fighting. So a truck driver is, it's a pretty standard job. I guess he can drive, which is a pretty good life skill, but apart from that, I would say in the manga, it's pretty much going to follow the same thing. We're going to see Garou become a truck driver. We're going to see him fight against Shiryu. What I really want to see is like Garou's design as like his job hunter Garou with his short hair in the manga. I'm really interested to see that. I feel like Garou would probably look better than how he does with like his regular kind of messy hair. But now I kind of want to talk about my opinions on Garou in the manga compared to the webcomic. I've kind of already made like a more in-depth video about that like a few months ago, but that was before the arc actually finished. Now I'll just kind of do like a last wrap up, I guess I should say, and I would say that the manga version is better than the webcomic. I know a lot of you, or a few of you, might disagree with me, because I know there are a lot of people who really like the webcomic Garou. They love the direction Garou went in the webcomic, but to be honest, I would say that the webcomic isn't actually that much better, or as I said before, it's not actually better than the manga in my opinion. I feel like the webcomic is just kind of Garou, but a lot more gritty, a lot more darker. But I feel like the manga was still pretty dark. Like Garou did kill all of the heroes on Earth, like with his cosmic energy, which is pretty brutal if I do say so myself. And that's not what he did in the webcomic. He probably would have done that if Saitama didn't get in his way. But regardless of that fact, you know, Cosmic Garou did kind of kill all of the heroes, which is like I don't know about you, but that's pretty brutal, which I know a lot of the One Punch Man webcomic readers want from the manga version of Garou. Not to mention that the manga version of Garou is stronger than the webcomic, which is always like a plus. Like, I always prefer a stronger version of a character. And I mean, Cosmic Fear Garou is like leaps and bounds stronger than the webcomic. Cosmic Fear Garou is like the strongest character Saitama has fought against so far. So he beats Boros, he beats any other character. And I mean, the webcomic version, in my opinion, still wasn't stronger than Boros, in my opinion. I feel like the webcomic version was definitely like top 2 strongest, but I wouldn't say it wasn't portrayed as stronger than Boros, which is a better way to, I guess, word it. But I know a lot of webcomic readers might be angry at that, because I know a lot of webcomic readers might argue that Boros is like weaker than the webcomic version. But as I said before, it just wasn't like implied, or it wasn't at least made obvious like in the manga version. Because I mean, you know, we saw the whole thing with Io, you know, Cosmic Garou being able to copy the serious punches, which, you know, Boros was annihilated within one serious punch, which, yeah, looking back at it, is pretty pathetic compared to what Cosmic Garou has shown in the manga. We've seen that Cosmic Garou was able to take multiple serious punches from Saitama, and maybe even stronger than a regular serious punch, because we know that Saitama keeps growing as the fight goes on, well, depending on the opponent he's facing. But as we saw in the manga, Cosmic Garou was able to push Saitama to grow even further and actually, you know, observe Saitama's growth, which is, you know, we saw in chapter 167 that Garou just straight up knew that he was not going to reach Saitama's level. And I guess Boros wasn't able to do that at all. We saw that Boros was taken out with like Saitama's original serious punch, which is not as strong as the serious punches that Saitama was throwing on Io, because as I said before, Saitama keeps growing depending on his opponent. And, you know, Cosmic Garou so happened to be an opponent that was able to push Saitama further and make him grow in his strength, or not really grow, but just, I guess, show more of his strength. Because we know that Saitama is the one above all in One Punch Man and is the strongest, and we know that no one can really beat Saitama. I guess the only person that we think that can beat Saitama is God, and even then we don't really have much information on God just yet. And as I said with God, I said in multiple videos that God will be like the final arc of the series. Well, the fight against God will be the final arc of the series. But to wrap this video up, I would say the manga version of Garou is better than the webcomic. I would also say that, you know, we're going to see Garou soon. Don't worry. Garou is probably just kind of left, and he's kind of just probably just finding a job. Like we saw in the webcomic, he's now a truck driver, and we will see him fight against Shiryu in the manga as well. And of course, we might even get some more backstory of Garou, because we've seen that, you know, Murata said that there will be a prologue for chapter 170, and that will be a prologue for Garou. But apart from that, that's pretty much all I have to say for this video. If you like the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And apart from that, I'll see you in my next video.